Hello everyone, my name is Indasri Wahyuni as co-author and my partner Imana Aulia Mafaza as co-author. So we will present our article titled Ethnography of Trutuk as Identity of Cultural Arts in Semarang City, Indonesia.
Semarang, a city located on the north coast of Java which has ethnic and cultural diversity. This diversity which finally makes various kinds of traditional arts appear and develop. One of them is the art of Trutuk Semarang, art that become the embryo from Ketoprak art, ever become a people's art which is very favorite to the community. Modernization grounds a lot of traditions. Traditional art is not interested.
Tahu Trutuk Semarang apa enggak?
Tertutup?
Ya.
Enggak.
Enggak, Bro. Apa itu?
Trutuk is defined as the revitalization of Ketoprak Lesung and the art community. Moreover, Trutuk art was developed by the Tirang community. Trutuk is generally performed using kentongan or slit drum, accompaniment and other musical instruments, particularly gamelan. The name Trutuk is derived from the sound of kentongan, which produces the sound trutuk. Trutuk art may be used as entertainment as well as means of communication and information to the community. The art is performed by providing information such as counseling from the government. Unfortunately, Trutuk art has not been widely known by the community, especially the community of Semarang City.
So, based on this illustration, we are interested in researching Trutuk art which has the potential to become the identity of cultural art in Semarang City. Methods. The method we used in this research was conducted by using a qualitative approach with ethnographic methods. The data in this research were collected by means of observation, literature research, in-depth interview and forum group discussion, and supported by quantitative data through questionnaires distributed to residents of Semarang City to identify the level of knowledge about the art of Trutuk in Semarang. The data obtained is verified to test the authenticity of the data that is reliable and relevant. The analysis was successfully carried out by interpreting field findings. The form of the report used in this research was an in-depth descriptive analysis report on the exploration of Trutuk Semarang by involving reinforcing data from various sources that had been obtained. Result: traditional art is regarded as one of the products of society's culture. The composition of motion, stories, rhythms, and song in it are expressions of society that cannot be separated from their daily lives, characters, values, norms, and knowledge. It can be said that art is composed of a series of cultural values, knowledge, which then moves people to create aesthetic action beautifully patterned in a series of symbol systems. Art as a symbol system is also found in the Trutuk Semarang Sao. Trutuk is a traditional art that was derived from the habits of the Semarang city community in the past, specifically chatting with each other at neighborhood watch while maintaining village security. This habit was carried out on a full moon night, and people who were just chatting with each other then came out with an idea to play a role. Moreover, they used to chat together about people's lives. The tool used was kentongan, which has been commonly defined as the mean of communication for rural communities made of bamboo, and is usually used to signal when danger arises or just to gather residents. The beat of kentongan will produce the sound trutuk trutuk, which then indicates this art to be recognized as Trutuk art. As time goes by, the concept Trutuk is re-emerged with packaging that is expected to follow the plot of the modern era by using stories based on contemporary stories but still using traditional spirit to keep values, heritage, and preserve it. This art should also be capable of being played even with a few players and performed in a modern theater style by paying attention to stage layout, makeup, lighting, script, and so on. Regarding to that matter, this art is often known as tradition in modernity. These views that the symbols possessed by humans are sacred and normative and have great power in carrying out their sanction. The sacred symbols are based on the ethos and view of life which are the most essential elements of human exchange, and the sacred symbols are coupled with other symbols that can be used by humans in their daily life. The symbols that are strung together in a culture must be interpreted in order to be able to know the meaning of a culture itself. The interpretation of this symbol can also be used to determine a cultural ethos in a sporting society.
1. Musical accompaniment. Musical accompaniment that initially only used drum and cantongan, over time is now added with other musical instruments such as saron, demung, gander, gong, and violin to breathe the atmosphere during the performance. The common rhythm used is this art the more energetic Semarang Gagrak Gamelan rhythm. This energetic rhythm is a symbol that contains culture values typical of coastal communities, especially coastal communities who tend to be straightforward, often have the courage to take risks. This character is formed as a result of the daily life who continue to deal with the climate, waves, and winds that are erratic. Moreover, the coastal area is an area that's open to traders and people from outside area, which is then able to become the cultural ethos of the coastal community. 2. Expression. Through Semarang, art has voice expression and is often conveyed through songs or poetry. Japanese expression usually have implied meaning in them, as the play was examined by the researchers in observation, where they played for Jogotongo as a response of the current situation as well as means of information. There was a scheme that showed a rich married couple being sad because being exposed to COVID-19 and they realized the wealth cannot be relied on. This scans the press bebasane wong angurip mung sakdermo nglakoni was expressed, which means that humans are only trying to live life because everything has been ordained by God. The press contains the cultural values of Japanese people about submitting to God. Humans are only capable of doing effort, and the result will depend on the God has outlined. The press's content in its art are symbol of Japanese culture values that prioritize wisdom. Cloth. The clothes worn in Trutuk art show are not only traditional Semarang clothes with a coastal style, but also cotton with Malay and Solo style. Malay's cotton is identical to using a ikat. In their form, a coastal style ikat and red batik ikat, which is considered as a hybrid of coastal culture with Chinese culture. This is due to the cultural identity of the people of Semarang city as a coastal community. Cultural values in coastal community tend to be open and tolerant, and any culture might enter and grow easily. The traditional classes in Trutuk show is referred as to a symbol of a caste that is likely to be exposed. 4. Semarangan language. Semarangan dialect or language as a form of hybrid culture that still exists until the present time. The Semarangan dialect is considered to be a mixture of language from ethnic immigrants. Therefore, the Semarangan language and the Javanese language are slightly different, so that the language is not so difficult and easy to understand. However, in addition, to being easy to understand, the process for speaking the language are still applied. In Japanese is used to address people with a higher degree and should be more respected. This language is a symbol that indicates that the communication is considered as the crucial element in coastal communities that are often faced by outsiders. The Semarangan language is also capable of causing every message conveyed to the public to be easily understood and accepted. Moreover, the Semarang language still shows and maintains the values of politeness and the Javanese people, even though there is use of polylite language that is not likely to be sound in remote Javanese area. 5. Through the performance patterns, the interesting is found in the show is the appearance of the players. When players leave the storyline, they don't significantly leave the stage, but join the narrator behind the theatrical arena. Interaction remains well established between players and gamelan musicians, or the player behind the story. Therefore, this performance will seem too crowded even though it is performed by a few players, because gamelan musicians are so capable of serving as players. The pattern of the show actually intends to raise the concept of tobo, namely ketoprak, which use the play around from the one place not to another. Therefore, when there are people who hold a show, they will likely play in a show by wearing makeup and clothing that is conducted at the venue, so the entry and exit of players are not the same as in current ketoprak. To the finding in the field research, out of total of 129 respondents in Semarang City community, only 10 respondents were aware of Trutuk art. This was due to the fact that this art had not been recognized administratively. Moreover, there were not many research related to the art of Trutuk, and the lack of information dissemination regarding to the art of Trutuk was tended to be found. Discussion. Trutuk Semarang has the potential to be part of the artistic and cultural identity of the city of Semarang, due to the typical values of the Semarang city community, which are oriented to coastal Javanese cultural values, as well as multiculturalism that is well counted in this Trutuk art, ranging from clothing, accompaniment, musical instrument, expression, and performance pattern or types of performance, along with the packaging of Trutuk Semarang has indicated as modern. Even though they maintain the tradition in terms of attributes and values, the plays tend to be engaged in story performance that respond to current events. Conclusion. Trutuk Us has the potential to be promoted as an identity because there are many symbols and represent the cultural values of people Semarang City, especially from Semarangan clothes and other traditional clothes such as Malay and Solo, which are capable of illustrating openness and tolerance. In addition, the typical accompaniment with coastal music, the Semarangan language that is commonly defined as a hybrid type of culture that still exists, and the performance patterns are also capable of describing the cultural values of coastal Java openness and multicultural. Finally, and this is our presentation, and sorry for our mistake, and thank you for attention.